Welcome to Namaste Today, a joyful way to begin your day. I'm your heartfelt host and Sensei to serious joy, Christopher Witecki. This audio broadcast is for Friday. Thank God it's Friday. Friday, April 7th, 2017. Welcome back, my friend. Namaste. Today, Step 18, Aries rules the day. This is the Grandmaster step of Aries, and ironically, it is the turning point in every person's personal journey. In today's Zodiac weather, I'll talk about the planets and what you can expect through the weekend. And then later in our tea time, I thought, considering we're going to be putting on a new face and a new character, that I talk about the principles of reaching self-mastery. But first, let's take a look at today's moods and your Zodiac weather. This Zodiac weather is for Friday, April 7th, 2017. And my global forecast for the Earth is sunny and super sharp. Step 18 rules the day, and the moon in Virgo makes reality a little too real. Let's take a look at the planets. Step 18 rules the day today, and Step 18 is the Grandmaster step of Aries. That's because it adds to the number 9. And whenever you reach a Step 18 day in Aries, it's a turning point for the character. You're finally gone with the old and ready for the new. But today it's a bit more profound than that because the Sun is directly opposing Jupiter retrograde, also at Step 18, but in Libra. That means that today is the mark of an end, or you could say the climax, to a battle with yourself for what is fair. Jupiter has been in Libra since last autumn, expanding everyone's idea of what fair relationships should be, what's fair to ourselves, and the potential for peace on Earth. With Jupiter retrograde in Libra, you've been reconsidering what your heart wants to choose. That Step 18 is what you love and what you commit to. And so on the table today is just that, what it is that you love and what you commit to. And by changing what you love and commit to, this in turn pushes you on a new journey with who you are. Step 18, Aries. With Venus in retrograde and many people dealing with past life love, today may mark the turning point in that love story. You may turn toward or away from a particular person or relationship, and that would be expected. I'm frankly not surprised that in the last 24 hours, President Trump made a huge turning point in his aggressions as president, and we find ourselves in suddenly a very different relationship with the world in a matter of 24 hours. Now, aiding and abetting to all this change is the moon. The moon today is in Virgo, which means we are feeling the harshness of reality, and it may be that harshness that's necessary to tip the scales, so to speak, of Jupiter in Libra. So today you definitely want to self-nurture, but realize the things that may be bugging you or irritating your emotions are there to kind of cheer on the future of where you're going and to help you not take it anymore. Also, by interesting coincidence, Saturn has gone retrograde in the last 24 hours, and that means the universe has no more plot points to lay out as far as the story you were born to live. Saturn is saying, you know everything you need to know for now to take the necessary actions. And today, with Step 18 ruling the day, the universe is recommending you do. Step 18 means you love and you decide and you act on that decision. Now, Saturn will be retrograde for a full 6 months. It will go direct on August 26th, which is just days after a massive solar eclipse in Leo at Step 28. So what this means is, between now and the solar eclipse in Leo, you'll be determining whether or not you're on the right path or not, and the only way to find out is to get started. And today through tomorrow is just that case. It's time to get started on the story you were born to live. What's also interesting is Mercury has become stationary at Step 4 Taurus. Step 4 is I belong. What that means is you'll be reconsidering where you belong putting your manifestation skills or not. And technically, many of people's projects will be on hold. That's because Mercury will go retrograde on Monday, and will remain retrograde until May 4th. So, in other words, the decisions you come up with over the weekend, the person you decide to become, it's going to take a good 3 weeks of thinking through this to see if you're absolutely sure. But it's important to get the party started, and it's important to get that party started before Sunday evening when Mercury goes retrograde. So, as I like to say to all my subscribers, if you have low-hanging fruit that you can pick, Sensei suggests you go ahead and pick it and move forward so you know what story is before you. And lastly, all this character development actually happens to be spiritual, even though we're in the month of Aries. Venus has retrograded to step 28 Pisces and is conjuncting Chiron. What this means is, by climbing into this new character, this new strength, or this new direction for your soul, you are in fact climbing out of an old spiritual rut. And you are healing an old spiritual position your soul may have been in the past. In fact, it's quite likely that everything you've lived up until this moment was actually a spiritual replay of what you have already lived. And strangely enough, as we move forward now, looking at all the outer planets and knowing all the retrogrades, now is the moment where you have an opportunity to break away from your spiritual pack and lead yourself to a new level of being. In fact, Neptune has just shifted to step 13 Pisces, which means we're up for spiritual miracles and breakthroughs for the next couple of weeks. It's also noteworthy to point out where Mars, the ruler of Aries, is transiting. He is way up at step 20 Taurus today, which means that although our plans for what to manifest are uncertain, you're going to find you become quite passionate and guarded about your manifestations. In fact, as of Sunday, the Sun will move to step 20 Aries, and everything in life will become very emotional. And the Sun will begin its conjunction to Uranus, which means everyone is about to be slingshot to a new level. It's not just about breaking away from this pack, it's about ending up where you truly belong. So that leads me to the topic of our tea time. How is one to survive in this great change? Well, go steep yourself some tea, and let's have our weekend tea time. Hello, my friends, and welcome to our tea time. Today's tea time topic is mastery is consistency. When it comes to mastering something, people often think of it as a benchmark of certain achievement, such as setting some sort of new human record as mastery, or pushing the limits beyond their normal boundaries as mastery, reaching new heights as mastery, or being the best out of the rest as mastery. But as far as God and spirituality is concerned, mastery is consistency. A master shows up time and time again, reliably and consistently. And when a master does this, it appears effortless to the people who are observing. But it is actually practice that is what makes a master. I remember when I was a young kid, this probably started my direction as a sensei. I was watching The Karate Kid. You probably remember the 80s movie The Karate Kid with Ralph Macchio and Pat Morita. Well, in The Karate Kid, I remember in the beginning how Sensei forces him to constantly paint this fence over and over the same way, and also wax the car over and over the same way. I even remember wax on, wax off. And of course, later in the movie, Ralph Macchio realizes that he's been taught the basic hand gestures to defend himself by waxing a car over and over and painting a fence over and over. So Pat Morita was basically teaching the power of consistency. What I have learned as sensei is it's better to consistently show up and fail than it is to occasionally show up and succeed. And this is remarkably true of how the ego works, or aka Aries energy. The actions or the behaviors that you do over and over are what becomes habit and what becomes what you master. People often complain that they can't change, yet day after day, they continue a behavior that's not good for them. They continually reinforce and practice the negative behaviors that are making them feel negative. Practicing the wrong behavior over and over makes you a master of failing yourself. But the same is also true with the opposite approach. If your heart truly wants to change your life by trying again, you will eventually master that task. It doesn't matter how much you suck at the given task. If you continually show up and try again, you will in fact succeed. It's literally built into the human matrix. I have many clients and customers who have told me they are frustrated. They've been trying to connect to their spiritual side and be psychic and open up. And I always ask them, not to taunt them, but sincerely, well, how often are you trying to be psychic and open up? And they usually answer, well, not very much. I was fortunate enough to kind of witness my own psychic ability opening up, and I became psychic through the horoscopes. I used to do 12 horoscopes a day, 5 days a week. There's only so much information the planets could actually tell me. And so I would go through a ritual every day to open up and ask my guides, what the hell should I talk about now? I did this over and over and over again for 5 years, waxing on, waxing off, waxing on, waxing off. And one day I just realized, holy shit, I'm always open, I'm always psychic, I'm always alert. And I believe it came from that consistency. People often tell me that they're trying to lose weight and get in better shape with their own body. And of course, I always ask, well, how often do you try? And they usually giggle and say, not very much. But when I hear of the stories of people who transform their bodies and transform their health, these are people who every day showed up and tried. Every meal thought about it. Every day made sure they had some exercise. To change your life, you really have to try consistently and all the time. You try again, and the one thing you guarantee to yourself is that you will keep trying. As we shift into the weekend, the planets are showing that every human being on Earth is going to break out of an old mold, break out of an old behavior. This, of course, is based on the summary of all the action and all the behaviors you've had up until now. For you to come into this new view of yourself and actually transform this character, to master this new you, you must be consistent about it. You must be consistent about playing this new character every day, every hour, and every minute. And I would suggest at least until the end of the sun in Aries. Success, my friend, is not an achievement. It is a lifestyle. And beginning this weekend, it's time to not just identify the goal, but identify the lifestyle that you will live consistently and practice every day until further notice. All right, my friend. Well, that concludes our Friday tea time. I look forward to having tea with you again on Monday when my video show comes out. Until then, remember, I love you, and live, love, be.